Whiskey is more than just a drink in Kentucky. It's the state's lifeblood, a golden spirit that runs through its veins and shapes its very soul. Here, bourbon is not simply a beverage. It's a symbol of tradition, resilience, and pride, woven into the daily lives of Kentuckians. For centuries, the region's limestone-filtered water and rolling hills have made it the perfect home for bourbon. The unique geology of Kentucky, with its mineral-rich springs, gives the whiskey its distinct character and smoothness, setting it apart from spirits made anywhere else in the world. This tradition is woven into Kentucky's culture and identity. From family gatherings to local festivals, bourbon is at the heart of celebrations and memories, connecting generations and communities. Bourbon is a source of pride, a craft passed down through generations. Master distillers treat their work as both art and science, perfecting recipes and techniques that have stood the test of time. The industry creates thousands of jobs, supporting families and entire communities. From the fields where corn is grown to the rickhouses where barrels age, bourbon touches every corner of Kentucky life. And it brings in billions each year, fueling local economies and supporting small businesses, restaurants, and tourism across the state. Kentucky bourbon is a major American export, recognized worldwide for its quality and heritage. Bottles bearing the Made in Kentucky label are prized by collectors and connoisseurs from Tokyo to London. Global demand has fueled a massive boom, with distilleries expanding, new facilities rising from the bluegrass, and investments pouring in from around the globe. The Kentucky Bourbon Trail draws visitors from around the world, eager to experience the history, craftsmanship, and hospitality that define the region. But today, on August 6, 2025, the story has changed. The optimism that once filled the air has been replaced by a sense of unease. The once booming whiskey industry faces a serious crisis. Distilleries that were once bustling with activity now stand eerily quiet, their future uncertain. Distilleries that were recently celebrated are now facing financial ruin. The proud legacy of Kentucky bourbon is under threat as economic pressures mount. Confidence has been replaced by worry and uncertainty. Owners, workers, and entire communities are left wondering what the future holds. The golden era is fading, and a difficult new chapter has begun. The spirit that once united Kentucky now faces its greatest test. This is the story of how things went wrong for Kentucky bourbon, a tale of tradition, challenge, and the fight to preserve a way of life, and what it means for the future of this iconic American industry, as Kentucky faces a crossroads between its storied past and an uncertain tomorrow. The core problem is simple: there's just too much whiskey. What was once a symbol of booming success has now become a burden for the industry. For over 2 decades, bourbon's popularity soared. Distilleries raced to keep up, ramping up production year after year. The logic was simple: if people loved bourbon now, surely they'd want even more in the future. By 2023, Kentucky alone had over 14 million barrels aging in warehouses, more than 2 barrels for every resident in the state. The scale is staggering, with entire landscapes dominated by rows of aging whiskey. Distilleries bet big on endless demand, pouring millions into new warehouses, state-of-the-art equipment, and expanded facilities. The industry was convinced the bourbon boom would never end, but whiskey takes years, sometimes decades, to mature. The bourbon being bottled today was a gamble made long ago, and now the market isn't nearly as thirsty as everyone hoped. Warehouses are packed to the rafters, and shelves are crowded with bottles that just aren't moving. Sales have slowed, leaving distilleries with more inventory than they can handle. The market is saturated. Prices are dropping, and bottles that once flew off the shelves now gather dust. The value of whiskey is slipping, and profits are shrinking. Distilleries are locked in fierce competition, fighting for a shrinking pool of customers. Marketing budgets are stretched thin, and price wars are becoming the norm. With so much whiskey already aging, simply stopping production isn't an option. The process is a long-term commitment, and distilleries are trapped by decisions made years ago. Newer, smaller companies are especially at risk. Without the deep pockets of industry giants, they're struggling to survive in a market that's suddenly turned hostile. These businesses are sitting on mountains of whiskey, hoping for buyers who may never come. Every unsold barrel is money tied up, and the pressure is mounting. The oversupply has created a dangerous cycle. As inventory piles up, distilleries are forced to cut prices even further, which only deepens the crisis. Distilleries can't simply pause operations. They must keep bottling, labeling, and trying to sell millions of gallons, even as the market grows colder. The pressure is immense, especially for those who invested everything in the hope of endless growth. For many, the dream of bourbon riches has become a nightmare. The whiskey glut is a classic economic problem. Too much supply, not enough demand. It's a hard lesson in the risks of unchecked optimism. And unless the market changes, the future of many distilleries hangs in the balance, with some already facing the prospect of closing their doors for good. Another reason for the crisis, drinking habits are changing, especially among younger generations. The way people choose what to drink is evolving faster than ever before, and the whiskey industry is feeling the impact. Social scenes that once revolved around whiskey are now filled with a wider range of options, reflecting a shift in priorities and preferences. Whiskey was once the cool drink, a symbol of sophistication and tradition. But now, Gen Z is reaching for something else entirely. For many young adults, whiskey feels old-fashioned, while new beverages seem more exciting and accessible. Ready-to-drink cocktails and hard seltzers are booming, offering convenience, variety, and flavors that appeal to a broader audience. These drinks are easy to grab, easy to share, and fit perfectly into fast-paced lifestyles. The packaging is colorful, the branding is playful, and the options seem endless. The percentage of drinkers under 35 has dropped sharply. Fewer young people are heading out to bars, and those who do are often choosing lighter, trendier drinks over whiskey. Health and wellness trends mean some people are drinking less, or choosing lighter options. Calorie counts and sugar content matter more than ever, and many are opting for beverages that fit their active, health-conscious lifestyles. Social media has amplified these trends, with influencers and viral videos making new drinks popular almost overnight. The power of online communities has shifted the spotlight away from traditional spirits. The whiskey industry was slow to react, missing early signs of shifting tastes. For years, distilleries relied on their legacy and heritage, assuming their product would always be in demand. While distilleries focused on traditional bourbon, competitors innovated with new drinks, capturing the attention of younger consumers and quickly gaining market share. Now, whiskey brands are scrambling to catch up, releasing their own canned cocktails and experimenting with flavors to try and win back younger drinkers. But the market is crowded and whiskey's image doesn't always fit the new trends. The classic bottle looks out of place among the flashy cans and bold branding of today's favorites. Distilleries are left with warehouses full of a product fewer young people want, facing tough questions about what to do next. It's a mismatch between supply and demand, with shelves and warehouses overflowing as sales slow down. This disconnect is fueling the crisis, putting pressure on distilleries to adapt or risk being left behind. And it's forcing the industry to rethink its future, searching for new ways to stay relevant in a rapidly changing world of drinks. Building a distillery is expensive. Land, equipment, barrels, and years of waiting for whiskey to age. During the boom, new companies took on massive debt, betting on endless demand. But whiskey takes years to mature, and the market has shifted. Many new distilleries now face falling demand and mounting debt. The revenue they counted on isn't materializing. Monthly loan payments pile up, but sales can't keep pace. This has led to a wave of bankruptcies, especially among newcomers. Their ambitious dreams have collided with harsh reality. The very investments meant to secure their future now threaten their survival. Older companies with less debt are better positioned to weather the storm. But for many new distilleries, the financial pressure is overwhelming. The risks of building in a cyclical industry have never been clearer. The global market once fueled American whiskey's growth. Exports soared and distilleries counted on international sales. But recent trade disputes have changed everything. Tariffs on American whiskey have made it much more expensive overseas. Sales in Europe and Canada have dropped dramatically. Distilleries like Michter's have lost hundreds of thousands in orders. The threat of even higher tariffs creates uncertainty and stalls growth. Key export markets are now closed or shrinking. The industry's global ambitions have hit a wall, and the fallout is compounding the crisis at home. The Luca Mariano Distillery story shows how quickly fortunes can change. After a huge investment and a grand opening in June 2025, the company filed for bankruptcy just weeks later. Over $34 million in debt, with $25 million owed to a single creditor, the dream collapsed almost overnight. Garrard County Distilling faced a similar fate, a $250 million project, closed in less than 2 years, unable to pay back $26 million in debts. Both were symbols of the bourbon boom, built on mountains of debt. When the market turned, they had no safety net. These stories highlight the vulnerability of new distilleries that bet everything on endless growth. Heavy borrowing and high expectations left them exposed. When demand faltered, there was nowhere to turn. Their collapse is a harsh lesson for the industry, and a warning for future entrepreneurs. The crisis isn't limited to newcomers. Even industry giants are feeling the pain. Wild Turkey, owned by Campari Group, saw sales drop over 8% in 2025. Brown-Forman, parent of Jack Daniel's, cut its workforce by 12% and closed a barrel plant. These are major moves for companies with long histories and deep pockets. Other big players like Diageo have also announced layoffs. When the giants cut jobs and scale back, it's clear the crisis is industry-wide. Even with diverse portfolios, the pain in their whiskey divisions is real. No one is immune to falling demand, oversupply, and global trade challenges. The problems are serious and systemic, and they're forcing even the biggest brands to make tough choices. Kentucky may be the heart of American whiskey, but the crisis is nationwide. Craft distilleries from Texas to New York face the same challenges: oversupply, shifting tastes, and trade barriers. Smaller brands lack the recognition and tourism draw of Kentucky's giants. They rely on local support and a shrinking national market. The Distilled Spirits Council confirms distilleries across the country are struggling. Tariffs and slow sales hit everyone, big or small. The entire American spirits industry is interconnected. Recovery will require a broad, united effort. The American whiskey industry stands at a crossroads. The boom is over, replaced by oversupply, changing tastes, and global uncertainty. Recovery won't be quick or easy. Millions of barrels will keep pressure on prices for years. Distilleries must adapt, connecting with younger drinkers and innovating with new products. Resolving trade disputes is critical to reopening export markets. The industry will likely shrink, with only the most adaptable and disciplined surviving. The path forward demands patience, creativity, and smart decisions. The golden age may be over, but American whiskey's rich tradition endures. With resilience and innovation, the industry can rebuild. The future depends on learning from the past and embracing change.